Hello, my name is Emma Tobias, and I am just now in the middle to the end of January posting my resolutions video and making my resolutions video. But hey, time is just a construct and we're all dealing with it together. I actually have resolutions this year that I am going to try to stick to because that's what we try to do with resolutions, isn't it? And I thought I would share them with you guys. I'm sure at least 3 of you guys will care, maybe 4, maybe 5. If you would like to pity me, smash that like button. Or if you would like to have pity, or if you have pity for me. See, I have pity for me because I can't think of how to put this sentence together with the correct syntax. Anyway, let's just get started. The first thing on my list in my pretty blue notebook is to only buy books that I'm super excited about, meaning to use my library more. Big part of that is to just use my library more and use my library to check out books that I'm unsure about, books that I'm like, well, maybe I'll like it, maybe I won't. It'll allow me to feel a little less pressure when buying a book, and also allow me to find reads that I might not have otherwise known about or otherwise thought about reading. Libraries are really great resources for that. But I also mean, in terms of only buying books that I'm excited for, is to really only buy books I'm excited for. In the past, I have bought books because they were there or because they were cheap. And although those aren't bad reasons to buy a book, for me, I was buying a lot of books that I never read, I didn't care about, I ended up unhauling a while later. I have recently done this and I've really enjoyed it. For example, I went to a used bookstore, I had credit at the store, but I wanted Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. So I was like, you know what, this is a book that I want, and if it only means that I have the budget to afford one book, I'm going to, and I bought the book, and that was great, and it made me happy, and I'm reading it right now, and I love it. So I just want to continue to do that. Next, in a similar vein, is to get rid of the books I don't like. This is something I actually started in 2017 at the very, very, very end of the year by unhauling 95 books, almost 100 books. I have accumulated a lot of books over the years, and I have not read a good majority of them. And a lot of these books I never wanted to read. They were books that I bought because they were there, or because they were cheap, or because I had vaguely heard about them. And again, all fine, good reasons to buy books, but for me, it wasn't really working out. And it was just taking up a lot of space, and I don't have a very big living space, and so I wanted to unhaul them. So to only, to not keep books around that I know that I'm not going to read, and not to keep books around that I don't really like very much, because although it's fun sometimes to read a book, and I'm all about that, I don't want to carry that around with me or have that in my life and just look at that book and think about that negative experience and be like, oh, I really didn't like Red Queen, why do I still own Red Queen? Instead of getting rid of it, and instead getting rid of it and making room for a book that I really did like. So that's one of the reasons. My next resolution is to try to make videos once a week. This is something that I think a lot of YouTubers, booktubers say, and a lot of us don't follow this rule. But back in the day, in 2014, 2013, I was doing that, and I just kind of have fallen away from doing that recently. But I like that challenge, and I enjoy having a fairly regular upload schedule. I think it creates a better community, and I just enjoy it more. Next, we have spend at least 5 minutes a day reading, meaning I just want to spend at least 5 minutes a day reading. I won't always be able to do this because life is busy and even 5 minutes can be hard sometimes, but I want to try because reading really does center me and is something that I genuinely really love. Next, we have read one book at a time. I have no judgment for people who read more than one book at a time. That's something that I do quite often, but I've been finding recently that I enjoy reading more when I read one book at a time, when I focus my energy on the one story. I have a problem of reading too many books at one time and then feeling very confused at what's happening in all the books, so this will allow me to have more attention or give more attention to one story at a time. Again, no judgment if you want to read more than one book at a time. That's great. Okay, so my last 2 resolutions are 2 things that I'm super excited about, or I'm really looking forward to. The first one is to read more books by women of color. There are so many amazing, amazing books written by women of color, and I really want to support women of color forever and always, and so I just want to make a effort, or a concentrated effort, to read more books by women of color, and to find those stories, and to read those stories, and to have those stories in my life. In general, I just want to read more books by women, and I really want to focus on reading books by women. Men or, you know, cis heterosexual men in particular have just kind of been not fun in the news and in general. So I really want to focus my attention on reading books by women and reading books particularly by women of color. Yeah, and reading just, again, more diversely, which I think should be a goal everyone should have every year because it's great and it's an easy thing to do. Next I have, or the last thing I have is the thing I'm most excited about. It's more of a project than it is a resolution, and that is to do this Instagram project I'm doing where I will put some pictures here, which is to do a chalkboard drawing review for every book that I read this year on Instagram. So like have a book that I've read Lair of Dreams by Libba Bray so far this year, and When Dimple Met Rishi this year, and I did little chalkboard drawings, and they were reflective of the book, and it also allowed me to like this is the book that I wrote, and also it was a creative project, and I got to think about how the story affected me and think about the main themes of the story or the main images I was thinking about in the story, and to artistically put them out in the world while also making a review kind of at the same time. It's just been really fun so far, and I'm really enjoying it, and I definitely want to keep up with that. So that is my reading resolutions. I'm curious to know what some of yours are, if you have any, if you don't have any, what your thoughts on mine are. Thoughts. Anyway, I hope you guys have a lovely day.